Welcome back to the Jagged Edge. We are just
Forgot
over,
about ourselves.
yeah, we're just over 24 hours from kickoff again. Javal, how are you doing today on this lovely Friday?
Obviously, we didn't talk about training camp every day, but it's just one of those things where you just look up and say, "How the heck is football?" Dude, we've already had not only the Hall of Fame game, but preseason game last night. So it's just literally 3 weeks of preseason games, a bye week, and then Miami. So man, it's crazy. I can't tell if it just moved faster because of football or just life stuff, but I'm doing great, man. Just excited. I think I've went through I think now that we've had time to break down most of training camp, it's not distracted to one day each by each.
Yeah.
Kind of good. And then no, well, first we didn't even talk about Tyson Campbell bill because obviously we talked about the Trevor contract when it happened, Josh contract rise to happen, and
Yeah.
then
Tyson
now
Camp.
they've paid
We're
another
not,
member.
yeah, we're not used to all these like homegrown talent being paid.
Actually
Like,
want to re-sign players from they drafted, which is crazy because I'm just used to Ramsey left. I mean, they re-signed Miles Jack, and then that ended up not working out that great. But Ngakwe left. I
Cam
feel most
Robinson
of
is still here.
yeah, I was
That's
gonna
so
say
fun.
Cam is literally the one player who they've just re-signed a lot, and even then, you could have cut ties a little bit earlier, but it
He's
just
still
feels
here.
weird that if it felt for the most part it would be just a few players that would just kind of stuck around. Everyone kind of got churned, but now they're really starting to re-sign players, and just obviously just Tyson being from Broadham side. But I remember when we drafted Tyson, and I remember even after we drafted Trevor and ETN, and then they drafted ETN, and I was kind of just why they drafted running back first round. And then I remember when they were talking about drafting Tyson, because whenever you have the first pick in the second round, there's always kind of the rumors who spread before the draft of who this each team wants to pick. And then so I knew they were going to pick Tyson before the draft, and I wasn't a big fan of him, mainly because he just wasn't great at tracking the ball. He had the athletic traits. It was just he didn't turn his head around. And he's gotten, I remember even the preseason, speaking of preseason,
It
it
was
was
like the
versus the
first half of
Browns.
his like career in his rookie year where he didn't know how to track a football. Then somehow after the bye week, he started to kind of just get it together.
Because I remember literally preseason,
Yeah,
he was in good coverage. It was a touchdown. He was in good coverage. He just didn't turn his head around, but he was there.
it was the
So I was
Browns
just,
game, I
yeah, it was the
think, right?
Browns game.
I
So that
thought,
was just,
yeah.
I think that was the first time the dirty, horny sex man was on the field. So,
No means no. No means no. No
but
means no.
yeah, so I'm just looking back to Tyson's growth, and obviously it's year 4 now and the system, and even Brett Coleman put out a video saying the most underrated players, and Tyson Campbell was on there. So, he's really starting to make a name for himself, not only inside Jacksonville, but, more national media will slowly get to start his name. So I'm just glad for Tyson, man. I think he's one of the more deserving players because he really, night and day, him from his rookie year to now is just so different. So, we'll see who gets extended next. I really want it to be Cisco. I mean, I feel they could extend Cisco. I don't think they'll be opposed to. I'm not 100% sure, but he's going to be playing on a contract year, so I think Cisco is going to go as long as he's healthy. I think he's getting 5 interceptions.
He said five. Jesus.
I mean, he got 2 or 3 last year, and that was with his hamstring being banged up. So if he's fully healthy, I think just in terms of the defensive line playing better, because Cisco's always had the ball skills and the tracking. He's always been a good center fielder, even going back to college and when he was in Syracuse. So it's really just obviously he wants to get paid. Ryan Nielsen. I mean, the good idea with Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates is a really good player to begin with, but I think Cisco is not that much worse off, especially in terms of being a rangy guy. So I think a big year for Cisco isn't coming. I didn't mean to skip ahead too much.
No, you're okay. It's
We
just
got
you
a
just
lot to
want to
talk about.
we want our
So
boys to get paid. I mean, Cisco's one of them.
plus if we have Cisco back, then the hoes gonna be watching. So that social media post from last year
That was
when they
so
just had
funny. Yeah.
Cisco signing. and they just had all the thirsty the
They had
girls
the
and
thirsty
gays.
women and the gays, yeah, just all like all thirsty. Like, hey, you know what?
Who is
Guess
this
what?
man? I need to start watching football. So, hey,
Yeah.
Cisco alone will bring in revenue. So come on, you can sign him.
Yeah,
But
him in that throwback jersey was looking real sexy though, for real. Well, anybody can be
Tyson in that
sexy.
video was
Yeah.
yeah. We didn't even talk about the throwbacks being in. Oh man, yeah.
I don't
So
even have mine yet. I'm waiting. It's been
the
a lot recently with new job, new everything, so
yeah,
that has
I
to
need
wait
to
until
I
football
need to buy
season.
mine soon because I need to get that Tyson throwback ready for Miami. So
Oh, there you go. Smart move, smart move. Got a jersey from someone who got paid.
yeah, that's the
Uh,
thing. Now that he got an extension, I said okay, I can get a jersey now. So
exactly. Got to represent your Broward County boys. You got to. What else is there to talk about? It's just a lot has happened. The I want to just touch upon the Trevor Lawrence discourse over like the course of the training camp of how like that was it toxic or was it just like annoying the way
I would
that
say more annoying because at
yeah.
first, the first few days, the offense
The
did
first
not look
week,
good.
yeah, it's like the first week when they got in, the offense was just reportedly less than
Doo doo.
ideal. Yeah, doo doo. He said just straight up doo doo.
Which, people were saying, the defense should, as first year in the system, offense is their third year. So people were thinking the offense should naturally have the advantage. I thought the same thing too. I thought, well, if you're the offense and you've been doing this for how long now, shouldn't you be used to this? So
Yeah.
I'm just glad that, the offense bounced back. I think after the first week, then everything started to align more with what we're used to. So thankfully, the offense, because the offense was just bad every single day throughout camp, I think everyone would have been panicking. And now that the offense had some good days, defense had some good days, it's kind of, well, there's talent on both sides. So just want to see more of a natural emphasis. I think people were definitely excited to see the passing offense and just really how aggressive they were vertically passing. And I think they've definitely had some flashes, but they've really held off, which I don't know if they're just holding off so they can kind of keep it more so for the regular season, or are they just holding off because design of the offense getting more quick. I mean, they've gotten Brian Thomas some deep shots. I don't think they've really done too much for Gabe. I mean, I think he's had some, but it's really just more so been sparse out, which I don't mind if you sprinkle in some, quick game and try to get more of a balance. I just don't want it to be too much in because my thing is I'd be okay with them being vertical all the time and being too vertical rather than not being vertical enough. Just because kind of quarterback that Trevor is. I mean, if they want to play quick game because they still want to get the guys in space, it's fine. I think ideally you want to find the right balance of okay, well, they're playing up top. No, they're not playing up top because they're just trying to stop the quick game, stop the screens, stop the slants, stop the 2023 Jags offense. So now we've got two guys that are going to say, hey, well, if you're going to press up on us, we're actually going to throw the ball deep. So I am excited to see just how they find the right balance because I think that's going to be the biggest thing with the Jags offensive identity. That and just, how well can they actually run the ball.
Yeah, I mean, they just shored up the middle of the line. A fully healthy Ezra Cleveland. I don't know how good he's going to be. Mitch Morse at center instead of Luke Fortner. This should be a massive upgrade. Well, we've talked about that plenty of times. And do we know how many series that the starters are going to play on Saturday? Because I know they said that the Chiefs are probably playing a whole quarter full of series. So I'm
Oh,
curious to see if the
yeah.
Jaguars kind of do the same thing
Knowing
tomorrow.
Doug, my guess is 2 to 3 series. It really just depends. If they have one full series
Where it's
and,
like
it's a
perfect. Yeah.
touchdown, I don't see them playing that much. If they have a series where it's a three and
Three and
out,
out.
hopefully it's not. If it's a three and out first series, then
Oh, the
all the
takes will fly
optimism.
online.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the,
the,
the
the
tanks.
takes the takes would fly on Twitter.
Speaking of offensive line, I know both Anton Harrison and Ezra Cleveland are out for the game, so it's going to be Walker Little at right tackle, which I don't think he's really played much right tackle. I know it's mainly been left tackle or left guard. So I'm very curious to see. I mean, he is a starting NFL player. It's just we don't know how he looks at right tackle. So
I mean, we had him a little bit at right tackle before, at least was it year one when you were year two and he was in the league.
I
He
don't
didn't look too
remember him.
good.
I only remember him playing left tackle and then left guard a little bit last year. So I guess
Okay.
we'll see. Because I mean, I guess he was competing for right tackle with Anton maybe in
Yeah,
camp. I
last year he
don't.
didn't look too good, but when he was at left tackle, he was like, okay, you know.
Yeah. So we'll see how the. 'Cause that's really the main thing. Or obviously it's preseason, so the offensive line looked actually. I remember from what I remember last preseason, the offensive line, even the running game looked a lot. I remember Tank had a nice preseason, so I don't want to look too much into it one way or the other.
Yeah,
Just really, we hope that everyone can get healthy for the regular season because I know Anton has a concussion, so it's one of those things where
you can
he's
just kind
got
of
the
let him sit and
time.
rest. Yeah,
He should be fine to be on pace. Hopefully, he can just at least be healthy for next week when they do joint practice with Bucks because I think the Bucks are probably going to be the most competitive practices. Ezra, I think he has lower body. It's either a knee or a foot. I'm not 100% sure, but hopefully he can just be healthy because the offensive line was already the biggest problem. The offensive line was just banged up last year, and the fact that they weren't that good even when healthy. It's the fact they're already banged up now. It's kind of especially at left guard, which was the position with the most rotations. Obviously Ben Barch, Shatley, and then Ezra, and then it was never really great per se. So the fact that Ezra's banged up to start training camp or to start the preseason, it's not great, but hopefully he can come back sooner than later because I was really just the main issue I still have with this team is just how does the offensive line I think it will be better just by virtue of not having Luke Fortner. It's just will all the guys around the offensive line look better? Really, just the interior, because I think the tackles you kind of know. Well, Anton, you have an idea of what he can be. He still needs to get better as a run blocker. Cam, you pretty much know what he is at this point.
hmm
Have some good moments, some bad moments, but you kind of know what he is. The interior, I mean, Scherf is still he's getting older, but he can play. I think Ezra's just the biggest question mark because you never really saw him play that much with a full season. He had a couple flashes, but in a couple moments where he didn't really do too much. So, hopefully Ezra can get healthy, Anton get healthy as well, and we're good to stay healthy because on the injury front, there really hasn't been too much in camp. I mean, nobody too crazy. The only guys I can think of are Wingard, who had the knee injury, and then a couple more depth players. I know Deshaun Dixon just tore his ACL, so rest in peace to him. And just a couple other bottom, the more
Josh
of the 90
Peterson,
mans.
also rest
Yeah,
in peace.
Josh Pete. I mean, hey, and he wasn't gonna make the roster regardless. So he
Yeah,
gets a free health insurance. So at least he's chilling.
that's crazy. Nepo baby getting a free ride. That's
It
crazy.
kind of, I mean, at least it worked. I mean, I'm not gonna say that he got injured on purpose, but at least it worked out for his sake. Where he gets to rehab and he doesn't, he's chilling. So, but also Patrick Murtaugh, rest in his ankle, rest in peace.
Can't believe that happened to him still too. And he had a bit of a big smile, crazy Aussie bastard, as they
After
usually are.
he's the guy. Actually, I'm kind of curious to see. But I mean, hopefully, everyone can just stay healthy the rest of training camp and just the season as well. But it's football, so injuries are gonna happen regardless. And just trying to make sure that everybody is on the same page, offense and defense. Because, I think we haven't seen too much of, well, I mean, as media, they can't break down who's playing where in defense,
Yeah,
but we have an idea of how everything will look for the secondary, how it's going to shake out. Linebackers still don't really know, but if we, I think as of right now, we can guess the starting 11 and then we'll really see. who's playing. Although I know, speaking of the starting 11, Darnell Savage also is not playing because he's in a red contact jersey. He should be back sooner than later, but I'm curious with him out because he was probably going to be the starting nickel. Who they put at that nickel spot to start the preseason? Because you're gonna. I think really to me the competition I'm excited to see the most in preseason is that secondary spot because there's just so many guys, especially with now that Savage is out. Now you kind of have another week of even more reps, which hopefully Savage comes back. I think he was getting closer. I know he was in a red contact jersey, so it's kind of to be determined
Yeah, I'm
who
looking at
really.
the depth chart. If you're seeing one going looking toward this way, we have 19 players on the roster for the secondary. So I'm just trying to rate them all. I'm like, oh my goodness, how many people is like fighting for these potentially 9 to like 11 spots for the secondary this
Dewey
season?
won't play. Savage won't play. So that's a couple more safety.
Oh, so they have to play probably Cisco and Antonio Johnson. I mean, at free safety, there's only 4 in the depth
I
chart for
mean,
free
I,
safety.
I would have guessed that
Yeah.
those probably would have been starting at safety regardless because Savage
Yeah.
is going to play at nickel. So it's
Uh-huh.
really just,
Well, they listed Darnell Savage as a starting free safety in
yeah.
the depth chart.
They,
So,
which is kind of weird because isn't Cisco the strong safety
yeah,
on the
Cisco
depth
says,
chart?
yeah.
Which is weird because if you would have guessed, I mean, I think Savage can play free, but Cisco is definitely the roamy, rangy, I'm gonna pick the ball off single high safety. So
Hmm.
I think he can play strong safety too. He can tackle, he can hit. He's a complete safety. So I think it's really just more buzzwords than anything. I don't think he's gonna change his role because, if the coaches see a guy that is, picking off, he's going to be a center fielder in practice. He's not going to just make him play in the box every single snap, especially because Savage is most likely going to be the nickel anyways. Depth charts are just kind of stupid. Let's keep it a stack.
Yeah, they just have
Preseason
Christian
depth
Braswell. Yeah, Christian
as the
Braswell is
only nickel
currently,
corner.
yeah, I'm
So
just looking at it.
maybe they'll see. I think it'll be either Braswell or Jerry and Jones to start at the nickel. Unless they just say maybe want to go with an older option. Those would be my guesses for who starts at the slot, which Braswell's from what we've heard has also had a pretty good. I mean, he had a good camp last year, but he
Hmm.
just wasn't healthy. So hopefully, he had a good preseason as well. He had that pick in the Dallas game. So hopefully, if Braswell's healthy, he can really compete. Because I think as of right now, he's probably going to make the roster, but preseason's really what solidifies who makes it, who doesn't. So, you know,
Sorry, now I had news from a different sport about a big Premier League signing. I was like, that came out of nowhere.
what
Getting
happened?
totally distracted. Dominic Solanke, the Bournemouth striker, is going to Tottenham for 65 million pounds. It's like, holy
I
shit.
know.
Where the fuck did that come from?
Tottenham's still not going to do anything anyway, so.
What do we
Are they
think
the
of
most
shit?
irrelevant of the big six right now?
Yeah, it's always Tottenham. It's like, what do Arsenal say? Arsenal fans say, what do we think of Tottenham? Shit. What do you think about shit? Tottenham. We hate Tottenham. We hate Tottenham. We hate
I was gonna
Tottenham. We
say
hate
they
Tottenham.
they definitely feel the most irrelevant of the big six, but hey,
I mean, they haven't won anything, but also my club hasn't either, so it is what it is.
hey, but
We're,
you don't root for a big six club, so it's okay to not win anything.
it's true. All right. Back on topic though. Not really too much to kind of talk about until the first game gets to be played. I think I just covered like the quarterback stuff. I mean, I guess we could talk about guys that we're excited to look forward to because that's always the most fun part about the preseason. Like we touched upon Jerry and Jones earlier. I thought he just looked like he was having a bunch of fun by the one day of camp that I was doing. I went to the first day of camp and the first camp day of alone because I started a new job since training camp started, so I haven't been able to go, boots on the ground, like look at everything that I want to notice. But Jerry and Jones always looking like he's having fun from whenever we hear him or see him around like the Jags training camp so far.
I think Jaren's also had a definitely noteworthy camp. He's flashed. I'm really curious to see the split he'll have between playing nickel and outside because
Yeah,
same
because
with
they think,
Braswell too.
yeah, they think he can play outside, even though he played a lot of nickel at
Even he was
FSU.
bad outside at FSU and then got good at nickel.
Mhm.
So I mean, maybe he can, you know, it's not impossible for him to play outside, we really just kind of have to see it, maybe with better NFL. I mean, even though he had Patrick Surtain coaching at FSU, so he had a very good defensive backs coach.
Yeah.
So
It's just a well-recognized name when it comes to like,
yeah,
former
both
NFL players.
Tyson and Jerry were actually coached by Surtain. Kind of fun. Tyson at high school, and then Jerry at FSU. So that's
Oh, there's
pretty
a big
funny.
connection. Yeah.
I didn't even realize,
And
but
FSU was practicing at Jacksonville's flex field too on Wednesday after the hurricane passed on by. That was also interesting.
after that is see Jarian. I think Jarian and Brazel are the DBs I'm most excited for. But I mean, there's just a lot of guys on the depth chart. I mean, just all the later on guys have drafted. I mean, Greg Jr. got on the injured list, so rest in peace to him. I
I
love
mean, after
saying
he started a
I
fight,
love
rest in
saying rest
peace
in peace to
to
players who
guys who
are
are on the
very
injury
well
list.
alive.
Yeah.
They're alive, they're just not playing.
I will
Their NFL
remember
careers might be dead, but they're
you.
still alive.
I 6th round picks, 7th round picks that we invested in. Like,
Now
it's always a give and
Buster,
take.
I think we'll see because we've seen him play in Caldwell's game. We
Yeah.
haven't really seen him play in Nielsen, but
Shout out to him
we've
in New Orleans. He made a very big play to win the game. Shout out to Buster Brown.
yeah, he may have gotten cooked, but he made the play when it mattered. So I mean the
He
fact that
saved me from killing myself in New Orleans, basically.
I, shout out Foster Moreau again. I literally
Yeah.
forgot he dropped that wide open touchdown.
I can't believe because I was in the opposite end zone, so like
I
I
was
couldn't see it until the replay. I was like, I
I was
remember.
watching at the end zone, so I just saw and they just went off his hands, and I just
Oh no, because if
but
he caught that, the game had to go to overtime. I might have been dead at the end of the night. I might have actually been dead because Trevor was like super slow. He was recovering from the injury like 4 days like prior. I don't know how like we won that game, honestly, or how even like the defense just capitulated, which was ironic because that was kind of like the preview of things to come later on that season for how bad the defense capitulated that second half. But that's last season. That's last season. We're talking about now.
but yeah, I
Just
mean just curious to really see the secondary guys. Buster Brown, we'll see how he does. I mean, Braswell. I know Eric Hallett is a safety on the depth chart. Maybe he'll play some
yeah,
nickel as well, because I know he was kind of a flex DB. And then also Trey Prince. I think he's also had some flashes in training camp.
yeah. He had a
So
couple picks, right? Or he had a
either
couple.
picks or pass breakups. But either way, he got his hands on the football. So
That's a
I mean,
linebacker, right? Or is it a
he was the
corner?
corner.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, obviously with the guys who were drafted the most recent regime, they were drafted to play man more so. So it really just kind of depends if the other guys can catch up and not fall too behind. Because I think Brazel has a chance. I mean, I think he's probably close to a lock. And then I would say Jarian is probably a lock also. So really just going
A
to be
third
between,
round pick. You would hope a third round pick is a lock for the
I think
roster.
between Trey Prince, Buster Brown, and they've got older guys, Amani Oriore, who I was a fan of coming out of Penn State. I think he's only 27, so he's definitely been passed around, but he's not also old. Tavon Campbell's kind of just there, so we'll see the secondary, and then at safety. I know they also have Josh Proctor, a guy who a lot of fans liked. Maybe with Wingard out, you can see more of Proctor getting some playing time, because I think with Wingard also, you kind of know what he is, and then we'll kind of just see the rest of the safety depth. And then also we didn't even really talk about special teams. So I think we're now that they have the new kickoff rule, I'm extra curious to see how they handle special teams. I mean, Winger, one of their best special teamers, he's gonna be out, but they got a few guys. Keelan Robinson's not playing. I don't know when he got banged up in practice, but so it'll be Duvernay and Parker Washington, I guess, as returners. So they'll they'll most likely than not be locked into the roster spots if they can just be special teams guys. So pardon me. And then Cam Little, we'll see how he does since Riley Patterson, rest in peace.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Little really won the kicking battle before like a kick was made in an actual preseason game. I was like, well, that's good to know. I mean,
Hopefully we see him confidence.
when you show up to training camp, with or was it that photo shoot with the fucking
The
the Gucci
Gucci?
sweater? Yeah, I was like, bro, you won the kicking battle like right there. How do you
Not
just like
dripping.
how do you outdrip like just like half of the other people doing the photo shoot? And you're a kicker. You better be the top three kicker in the league coming into the league now that you're rocking the Gucci sweater in your first
It's either
photo
gonna
shoot.
be amazing or terrible, and I just can't tell which one.
I think amazing since he just looks like he looks like he's got it. He
Yeah,
just
if he was
does.
bad, it was a sixth round pick and not a second round pick.
But
So
also, you took a late pick on a kicker. Usually, that doesn't. More likely than not, that doesn't work out. But a lot of the ones that I can remember at the top of my head, like Evan McPherson and what do you call it? The Bills kicker Tyler Bass.
it is also a sixth round pick. So
Yeah, that's true.
and anything past anything, I feel five is the earliest I would draft, and he's got to be really good. Sixth round pick, I don't really care who you pick, but so yeah, we'll definitely see more of the special teams guys with the new rule. We'll see how the return goes because I think special teams is obviously where they're gonna a lot of guys gonna be the chance for them to make the roster because if you're not gonna play most of the snaps, you have to a core special teamer, So we'll see how these guys fare as gunners and returners with the new rules, how everything looks. So I'm very excited to see how everything will play out in the preseason. It's just more so hopefully the offensive line doesn't get more banged up and the offense hopefully we see the offense for only one drive because not even just injuries but if they're not playing for long then that means that they're well rehearsed and they're playing in a good rhythm. There's no errors, but it is also the Jags, so I'm fully prepared for a 3-and-out on the first drive.
We're playing the Chiefs too. Like you could legit, this is legit like the perfect team you probably want to play in the preseason. Is probably the Super Bowl champions going into town week one. And they said they're gonna play like two or three drives. I'm like, all right, that's wonderful. I love that.
Trying to see your best versus their best. Kind of get to see how the defense will get a quick glimpse of it. I don't think they're gonna come out and I mean
Be
I feel
like guns blazing, like kill Mahomes, kill
yeah they're
Mahomes.
they're
They don't
not
want
gonna
to do
come out and
that.
get the most exotic blitzes, so they might just kind of keep it simple. But hey, I mean, you just kind of wanted to see your guys versus other guys because I think training camp it's a good barometer, but playing against other players you're not familiar with is the best barometer because when training camp, you kind of have an idea for what to expect. When you're playing up against other dudes, you can watch, especially the preseason week one, where you can watch film, but most of the film is towards last year. You don't have anything on tape already, so
Yeah.
really exciting, curious. Hopefully they don't embarrass us, but it's also the Jags, so I'm fully prepared for 3-and-out, and then we just give up a deep touchdown on this next play, and then it's the preseason. Everyone's upset, but hey, man, it's preseason football, so you kind of just have to. It's not really about the results; it's more so it is about the process, and who's playing well, who's not playing well, and what do you learn from that. So I'm excited, but also I know the Jags. I'm excited, but I also know that it's Jags football is back, so I just have to be prepared for something dumb and bad to happen.
I'll be working until 7 p.m. tomorrow, so legit when I'm walking to my car, I'm gonna just have the preseason game while I'm walking to the car. Probably just have the radio broadcast playing in the car.
Literally gonna have to get a live stream on my phone because I'm gonna be taking pictures with Bree, and they're going out to dinner later.
So you're
So
like, well,
they
you
could
just
have
gotta see the
played this game. If they played this yesterday,
or
I would have
tonight.
just been locked in. But
Yeah.
no, they have to play it when I'm going out with friends to dinner.
And you're like, dang, just look at the takes on the timeline, which are always fair and super reasonable.
Yeah, the takes will
Always.
always be reasonable.
Good or bad. Like if we go out guns blazing, we're firing a touchdown opening drive, the amount of Super Bowl here we come
Brian,
takes here.
I just want one BTJ deep catch.
I mean, I said that with Calvin Ridley, we got it last year, and he was super consistent after the preseason. So, that's why I also don't want to take anything preseason.
I
Like,
don't want to
yeah,
be too crazy. I mean, yeah, my expectations for the regular season, no matter what happened in preseason, are definitely they're lowered, but at the same time, it's just really just wait and see. Because with this team,
we can
they're
get
so
anything. Yeah.
unpredictable. They're so volatile. I can get a game where the secondary is locked down and the offense is just pooping all over itself and they can't move the ball, or vice versa.
Like they get
They
allergic to scoring touchdowns, or they get past midfield again. I'm probably gonna like I'm just gonna end it all again.
they'll
I'm
look
just gonna end
beautiful,
it
and then
all.
they get into midfield, and then it's just the
Diarrhea doo
worst
doo all over
fumble you've
the
ever
diarrhea
seen,
doo doo all over
the
them.
most untouched fumble. It's gonna be Tank Bigsby open space, and he just I don't want to jinx it actually. Tank's also had a good training
Like the
camp.
Raven game where like Trevor was running for a first down and then I don't know like how that happens. Like I've done that before too. Not like I can't say I haven't done anything similar when I played sports, but you know, it's still tough because it's like NFL quarterback doing that. You're just like, fucking damn it. We had a chance in that Ravens game too. That's last year though. Let's just forget about last year. Where there's the trauma dumping is not good. But this is just what the Jaguars do to us at the end of the day. It's
Are you
hard
ready
not
for
to
more
trauma dump.
trauma, John Michael? Are you ready to be traumatized once again?
Oh, always. I mean, it's what we signed up for, being Jacksonville Jaguar fans, right?
Can't believe we're signing up for another year of pain and suffering.
Hey, I'm paying double the money with 2 season tickets this year. Love it. Love it. Let me see how many games I can go to at this new job, but I'm gonna try. I'll be missing both preseason games this weekend next because of the job. But hey, it's preseason. As long as I can actually like go to the games that we can go to, it'll be perfect.
Anything else you're trying to look forward to or any player you want to see in preseason besides the ones
Um,
we've touched on?
I'm curious to see the running back position outside of Travis Etienne because we do have a lot of focus back on the Tank Bixby finally having another off season, trying to have a reset from his horrific rookie season.
Nothing he does to me in training camp. Sorry, I'm sorry, Tank. I love you. I hope you have
If
a
he
breakout
doesn't
year.
fumble the ball in preseason, because he even fumbled last year in pre, remember he fumbled I think the 1 yard line against the Dolphins last year. If he doesn't have like one fumble in the preseason, I'm gonna say that's an encouraging sign. But the
I
moment he drops the football, or like a drop pass in the backfield after of a check down, or just even like a fumble, like in any situation, that's when I'm gonna start to like, all right, I don't know, it might be time to go. Because isn't there like an undrafted free agent running back that's been popping up?
Jalen Jackson, I think,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
and
that
they still have Dearness. So just Tank had a good preseason and then had a horrific regular. Which,
like that Colts
granted,
game was like the most egregious. Like, oh
welcome to
my
the NFL moment I've ever seen. And then just on top of that, and granted, most of it wasn't Tank's fault because the offensive line was actually blocking in the preseason, and then they went in the regular season and they couldn't block anybody. So that's why I want to see the running backs in the preseason, but they're the position the most where I'm not taking anything super positive from it until the regular season, just because I feel a lot of it's determined by the offensive line, which I don't see the offensive line playing consistently well, especially in the running game. I mean, if they do, I'd love to see it. I've been tricked before so many times, and I refuse to. It's that what J. Cole sampled I literally forget the name of the song with George Bush. Fool me once, can't get fooled. Fool me once, that's on me. Fool me 3 times, you can't get fooled again. That's literally how I feel. I can't get fooled again with this team. I refuse to believe it. Hopefully, Tank plays well, man.
but yet we're still here, Javal. We're
I'm
gonna
not. I'm
get
not
fooled
getting
for.
fooled. I'm just going to be. I'm just ready for the pain. The
Yeah.
last time I will. This time I'm expecting the pain to happen. Last year I was just. I didn't think it was going to
No,
come
we
this
didn't think
quickly.
it was gonna go as like the way it did, and we still had a winning
Here,
season.
this year,
That still blows my mind. We wanted to kill ourselves, and we had 2 straight winning seasons for the first time since
are
2005 to
I
six.
can't wait for the most miserable 9-8 season again.
If that's just our life, we have just a Super Bowl winning coach version of Jeff Fisher. I might just end it all. That's okay. We're a super positive Jaguars podcast. If y'all can't tell, if you're still here, we
Super
are the
positive.
most we are the most positive Jaguars podcast. We gotta go all we gotta go full Trump when it comes to the Jaguars. We're winning it
We're
all. Yeah, we are the most
just
viewed Jaguars
everlasting,
podcast.
everlasting optimism here. That was just that's
Yeah.
the name of the pod. Just
You gotta
optimism
be
all the time.
Delulu. It's Delulu or pain, and there's no in between with us. It's either full delusion or full pain and suffering.
No, no,
It's
no. It's the pain will be there almost regard. It's just a matter of are you delusional or not to see the pain, or are you blind enough?
Or is
That's
the
really
pain
just,
making you even more delusional than you already are? Which is definitely me.
I guess, in terms of guys I'm excited to see for the preseason, I'm really curious to see the battle for receiver six because, most of the guys are
Hell
pretty
yeah. I
locked
love
in.
my sixth wide receiver on the roster that just stays in the inactive part of the roster
Yeah,
on
pretty
good
much.
days.
I mean, just even last year there were seven guys.
Yeah, there
So
was,
I'm
wasn't
curious.
there? That's crazy.
There could be seven guys again for special teams. I don't know, but Kirk's gonna make it. Gabe's gonna make it. Brian Thomas is gonna make it, and then Duvernay's gonna make it as a returner. Parker
Parker Washington
Washington's
probably is the
probably.
he's like
I mean,
95. I think he's like 95% locked as like the backup slot.
he has the
So
most backup slot and backup returner, so he has the most to lose in case if he doesn't play well. But I think as long as he continues to hype, because he also had a good preseason last year,
mhm. He
so as
had a
long as he
very
can.
good catch. He had a couple touchdowns too, one in the preseason, one in the regular season. That was like pretty good too.
I still remember his preseason touchdown. He just caught a little
Yeah.
out route, tipped it on the sidelines.
In the Lions game last year, right? I think it was the Lions
Yeah,
game.
it
And
was
then
a Lions game.
he had a couple touchdowns last year too. Went against the Browns. I remember that was really good. Just a perfect ball from Trevor. And then the touchdown against was it the Bengals on the Monday night game? But it
We'll
was
see
kind
with
of tipped
Parker.
up. Yeah.
And then just between him, Elijah Cook's another year, who I think is kind of the forgotten man. I think Cephas took all the Elijah Cook's hype, and Cephas to his own has been playing well. He's had some great interviews. Great, seems to be a good guy. I think Elijah Cooks might have a shot to make the roster. I mean, if they keep seven, are they going to go for a developmental guy? Because I think Tim Jones, due to special teams, will always have a shot because the special teams, very important. So I feel most of the team is really set in stone outside of the depth corners and depth receivers. So
Mhm.
I'm looking for that position the most to see who really stands out.
Yeah, because you want to make sure you're confident with your depth going into another 17 game season. But at the end of the day, it's preseason. We can have a little bit of fun. We're just gonna let the takes fly. And hopefully we don't take it too seriously, good or bad. I
Oh,
hope
we're
that's
definitely
rather
taking it too
good or
seriously.
bad. Oh, but whatever happens, happens at this point.
Can't
No
wait.
excuses going for the Jaguars team going into next year. That's all I'm gonna say, at the end of the
The
day.
biggest excuse will be the offensive line still sucks, and that wouldn't even be a big excuse because they knew it was bad. I mean, they made it a little bit better. I don't know how much better. So
If changing the center position is all it took, I am going to look at Luke Fortner never the same again. And I already hate that man. But he's the only reason why this offensive line was like dog
it can't
shit.
be all on him, right?
Like, what
There's
if
no.
it is though? What if it is? What if he's legit the worst center in NFL history that has played like significant game time? I like it can't just be him. It could be the coaching. It could be also Ezra Cleveland or whatever they have in the interior. Like, what else
It's
could
one
it
of those
be?
things where I don't. If the offensive line goes into week one and they're averaging 5 yards a carry, then either the Dolphins D line is just atrocious, which I
Well,
don't
they
think
lost
it's.
Christian Wilkins, right?
I don't. It's definitely not a good defensive line right now. If they come out and just give 3 straight weeks of kicking ass in the run game, I'm going to look at Luke Fortner and I'm just going to say you are not even UFL talent. And then they're either going to come out amazing or the exact same terrible as last year. I just can't figure out which one because of the Jags.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely gonna have to see. We got
Phil
like four
Rauscher,
weeks.
will
We
I
got
want
four
your
weeks
head on a
until week
platter?
one. We got 4 weeks.
I gotta order my Tyson jersey too.
We got 30 days until the start of the regular season. The
Man,
countdown
that's
begins
crazy.
now.
That
We're
is
we're
crazy.
yeah, we're 30 days away. That's crazy. Well, any final thoughts before we sign off for the rest of the day?
No, I think we mainly hit on everything. Decided to see the receivers and the secondary. Hopefully offensive line can just get healthier and not be terrorists again. Because
Always. Yeah.
if we have to watch, if we can't pick up a third and fourth and one again, I'm going to lose it. And yeah, press Taylor if you're still calling plays. Well,
Please.
I
Just
mean,
be a little bit. It's not even like don't be too much better. Just be a little bit better. This
I'm
offense needs
just
just even a little improvement on offense.
I
Even a
just can't
little.
tell if the play call. I really can't tell if Press just looked that bad because of the plays he was calling, or was it just the execution that was bad? I that's really the thing because I think there were some plays that weren't great, but if they just executed them better, even if the play calling wasn't great, it would have just looked at least NFL level. But then just when they called a run and the run just was dead in the water, I was just well, because even I feel like even when they tried to run outside more, that also didn't work. So it was kind of just even when he tried to switch it up, it just wasn't really working that much. It really wasn't really working better. So oh man, but I'll be upset about Press Taylor in about an hour, and not an hour, but
Be
24-ish
next week.
hours.
Yeah, this next week. We'll see at the end of the day. That's all we can do. But I don't really got any final thoughts too. It's just play well, stay healthy. Somebody make a name for yourself. Go full gambit. If you
Ooh, you know how long I've been waiting for this? I'm about to make a name for myself here.
Somebody please make a name for themselves in a good way, please. We don't need like a most like comedy horrific comedy of errors tomorrow from someone. Even though it would be funny since it's preseason. If you want to do it in preseason, that's fine too. But I hope you're not trying to fight for a roster spot.
Name for myself. I'm sorry. I just had that stuck in my
Oh
head the
yeah, no,
whole movie.
yeah, I know. Ever since I watched the movie, I have that phrase and I have Madonna's "Like a Prayer" stuck in my head the entire time. Ever since I watched the movie last Thursday. Phenomenal film.
Let's see who makes a name for themselves.
Yeah. And please, Jaguars, do good.
Don't make me want to kill myself.
That's all.
At least not this week. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen a couple times this season. We're just not in preseason. That's all I have.
For sure. All right. I think that will be good for the day. Javal, God bless the Jags. God bless you. God, I gotta get ready for work. This sucks.
All right, man. Take care.
Of
Enjoy the
course.
rest of your day. I'll let you know how suicidal I am after the game tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, we'll text each other around 10 p.m. tomorrow.
All right, man. Take care.
You too, man.